All right, fellow babies, welcome back to the Pachter Factor on sifted.net. $30 a year, you get it here first. If you don't have $30 or you don't care, watch it on YouTube a week later. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching late. Thanks for joining us. We've got another question this week from Sifted. I'm going to guess on this guy's name. I would actually pronounce it Blimpy, but it's like Blumpje. It's clearly a Dutch name. So Blimpy, Pachter is a Dutch name too. Go into Google and translate Pachter from Dutch. It's pretty funny. What do you think will happen to Kotaku now that Gawker Media lost its court case to Hulk Hogan? I got to say, there's things about Kotaku that I just love, including Stephen Totilo, who is the editor-in-chief. And there's things about them that just piss me off because it's just a rumor mill. But my bias is they don't slander people. Like, if they don't like something, I think they are completely within the bounds of First Amendment protection. And I think what they say is fair game, and I think they typically take on public figures. The Hulk Hogan case is not a First Amendment case. I mean, I think Gawker ran it that way. It's an invasion of privacy case. I mean, posting pictures of sexual, relations without the guy's permission, I'm not so sure that that's something that's, free press. And I think that's what the civil court held. So Gawker hurt Hulk Hogan by posting pictures of him in having sexual relations with a colleague's wife, and that hurt his reputation. I think the amount of the judgment was pretty excessive, but that's what the courts are going to figure out in the appeal. But I do think Gawker was wrong, and I think the right way to think about it is there's just a line where freedom of the press extends to the line, and the press can report things and can have opinions and can say things about public figures that don't cross the line. When they cross the line, and I think we all know this, that's when the jurors, when the average reasonable person is outraged. So posting pictures of Hulk Hogan, not pictures, video of Hulk Hogan having sex, that crossed the line. Reporting on it and saying he did it, that doesn't cross the line. So I really think that's a difference. And last I checked, Kotaku doesn't cross the line. There may be things that you don't like that they say. I actually have no problem with what they say. I just find myself having to defend a lot of silly rumors that they bring up. And it's okay. I mean, I think that's what they get paid to do. They get paid to kind of stir the pot, and they're good at it. And so, as I said, many things I love, many things I hate, but I don't think anything comes close to what Gawker did to Hulk Hogan. As far as whether Gawker can afford to keep Kotaku going, I'm quite confident that Kotaku generates more revenue than its costs. The reporters essentially get paid on a per hit basis, so I'm sure everybody's got a guarantee. But if you get 10 million hits and your colleague gets 5 million hits, you get paid twice as much as your colleague as far as that bonus works. So Gawker's making money because they're monetizing hits, they're delivering ads for everybody who goes on to Kotaku. So even if Gawker were to file for bankruptcy, that would just be to protect them from this judgment. That doesn't mean they wouldn't continue to run. It just means that Hulk couldn't force liquidation. So there's a couple of types of bankruptcy, and this would be, if they were to do so, this would be the type of bankruptcy that would allow them to continue to operate. They could choose to sell Kotaku, but if they did, they'd sell it to another buyer who was interested in the profits that Kotaku generates. And I'm pretty confident that Kotaku generates more profit than, that generates more revenue than they generate in expense. So they make a profit. If they do, nothing's going to happen. They might have another owner, but I don't think Gawker's going to be forced to sell them. I think Gawker can reorganize in bankruptcy, come up with some kind of accommodation, pay Hulk Hogan over time, and everything's fine. Okay, our next question this week comes from Sifted, from Sean. How do you deal with media outlets publishing scathing articles of your predictions? Does it ever bother you? Wow. Media outlets, most of them are just like lame guys in a closet who write blogs. Who cares? I don't think I've ever had like the New York Times write a scathing article on how bad I am and how much I suck, or the Wall Street Journal. So if there's a publication that I respect that did that, I suppose it would bother me. But since that hasn't happened, it's kind of a rhetorical question. It tends to be a media outlet that is a staff of one. It's some self-appointed policeman who decides I'm wrong. I had a funny post on my Twitter feed the other day from Derek Nolan, who runs the Too Old to Play blog. And I don't even know where he got this stat, but he said that they've actually tracked like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of my so-called predictions, and he claimed I was 95% right. That sounds a little high for me, but I think you guys don't understand, how often I actually speak. I write 365 notes a year. I'm rounding, but I literally write a note a day with typically 4 or 5 pages of content. You can probably find a prediction in every paragraph. So I probably make 10 or 12 of those a day. I just looked at my media log. I've logged 119 media appearances in the first quarter of 2016. So there's another 480 a year. And again, how many predictions are in there? At least 2 or 3. So I literally make probably thousands of predictions a year. The truth is, yeah, I'm not 95% right, but I'm like 70. It's just that when I say, the Wii U's a turd or something, someone will point out that sales were up 57% from, 30,000 to 40,000 this month. I mean, whatever. That's like, whatever. You can prove anything you want to prove. I don't give a shit. So guys in your underwear, sitting in a closet, writing your one-man blog, fuck off. I don't care. I guess that bothers me because I said fuck off. I don't care. And if and frankly, I don't even see most of it. So, I think the only one-man show who ever actually offended me was Jim Sterling, who I love, by the way. I literally consider that man just wonderful. I really love the guy. And that's why it bothered me, because I think he's really intelligent, and he was pretty nasty. And so I one day reached out to him. I'm like, why are you so nasty? And he went, oh, I didn't know it bothered you. That bothered me because I like Jim, and I think he's really smart. And I read his reviews of games, and I love the Jimquisition, and I think the guy's he's just great. So when I think there's somebody great and they say bad things, it bothers me. I think the better way to think about this is I get a forum for the things that I say because most of the media outlets think I'm credible. I have had 119 media interviews this quarter because the media thinks I'm credible. And credibility means that you are thoughtful, that you have a basis for what you say. And almost always the questions are not what happened in the past. People don't call me up and say, what did Activision earn last quarter? They call me and they say, how is Call of Duty going to sell this year if it's set in space? And I have to guess. So no, I don't care about the other 900. No, don't care. Great question, but don't care. Hey, look at that, fellow babies. We got a question from Twitter. And again, thank you to all the Twitter questions, to all my Twitter followers, at Michael Pachter. You can ask a question anytime, copy at Sifted Games. And you don't even have to hashtag Pachter Factor. We'll figure it out if you copy both of us. From at Machado86. I hope it's Machado86. Machado. What prevents the gaming library subscription model like EA Access and Humble Bundle Monthly from taking off? Boy, that's a good question. I think this is psychological, and I'm not sure I'm the most competent person to answer this, but I think that there's a reluctance on the part of people to subscribe to anything. You'll do it if it's something you use like crazy. So if you watch 100 hours of TV a month, and Netflix says $9.99, all you can watch TV, well, you know you're paying $80 or $100 or more for cable. $9.99 sounds like a good deal. You're willing to sign a subscription for something you know you're going to use. The problem with EA Access is most people don't actually know if they're going to want to play that many EA games. And it's not expensive, but it ends up costing you something, costs you the equivalent of, a game or two. And what if you don't want to play any EA games this year? So, you do it if you play so many EA Sports games and you're so addicted to Battlefield and Star Wars Battlefront that you want a discount on all the different stuff EA offers. But if it doesn't pencil out, if you're not 100% sure, it's easier just to forego the discount and pay as you go and buy games when you want to buy games. Same with Humble Bundle. I mean, Humble Bundle is a phenomenal bargain if you want to play older games, because there's tons of them and they're inexpensive. But if you've already played them all, you're not going to do it. I think most people don't explore those types of subscriptions because they don't buy enough games to justify it. And I think most guys who buy a lot of games have already kind of figured out the discount. But the best deal I've seen is Amazon Prime. If you are an Amazon Prime member, and that could be your parents, you get 20% off any new game that you either pre-order or you buy within 2 weeks of release. So if you buy any game, if you buy Uncharted on pre-order and then it comes out and you go to your checkout, it's $48 at checkout, not $60. That is a phenomenal deal, even if you only buy one game a year. If you happen to be a Prime member, and oh, by the way, with Prime, you get Prime Instant Video for free and you get free shipping on everything. So, I think that's the best deal I've seen in games. The reason I say it's such a good deal is $48 is what the publisher sells it to Amazon for. So Amazon is making zero profit. You can be sure that that is the best deal you will get. Anybody who sells it below cost, that's a stupid business model, and no one will sell it below cost. So getting a game at wholesale, that is a great deal. And the cool thing about that Amazon offer is it's a physical copy. You can take that and trade it in at GameStop for credit and buy some of these used games that you get on Humble Bundle, and you probably end up getting about the same deal. So I think subscriptions in this business are really hard. Gamefly is another one not mentioned here, but it's a gaming library subscription. You pay your $21 or $21.99 a month, and they mail you the game, but you basically can get anything that Humble Bundle has, as well as anything EA is offering you. But at it's $250 a year, and unless you're buying or playing more than 4 or 5 games a year, if you play 4 games a year, you're spending $240. If you play 8 games a year, you're trading them in, and you're getting a value on the trade-in. So really, you need to play like 10 or 12 for even a Gamefly to make sense. That's why that doesn't take off. Hope that's responsive, but I think, again, it's a trade-off between the value of the subscription and your actual projected use. Most people don't project they're going to use enough to justify the subscription. Okay, this week's last question comes from Sifted, from Astray GT. Are there any video game genres we will see less or more of due to current trends in sales numbers? Yeah, that's actually a really thoughtful and smart question. And the answer is anything Nintendo makes. So platformers for sure. I couldn't even tell you what all the different styles of games are, but platformers for sure. Nintendo's losing share, period. And because Nintendo's losing share, the Wii U is losing share to PlayStation and Xbox One. The 3DS is losing share to mobile phones. Sales of 3DS are half as big as they were, in a 5-year period on average for the DS. So you're just going to have fewer Nintendo titles, and Nintendo being, consistently E-rated games and EC-rated, and occasionally, you get an E10 plus game. These kind of games are hard. They're not going to do well because you have fewer 3DSs out there. I don't know what else, like Mario Kart is racing, and they used to sell 10 million units of that a year, and that's got to be going down. I don't think Forza and Gran Turismo and Need for Speed are picking up the slack. So, so yes, I think you're going to see anything Nintendo participates in lose share. And because the Nintendo hardware install base is challenged, I think you're going to see less or fewer games made by third parties for those platforms, which again tend to skew E-rated. E-rated tends to skew things like platforms more simple. I think ultimately, this is going to be like, what was that movie? Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone. He was put into deep freeze for 30 or 50 years or something. It came out, and there was only one restaurant. It was called Taco Bell. I think that we're going to have only one genre. It's going to be shooter. So there'll be more than one game, but it's only going to be shooter games in another 20 years. I'm kidding, but one of those media outlets who publishes scathing articles on my predictions will probably pull this up 30 years from now and go, Pachter was wrong. And I'll probably be dead in 30 years. So, once I die, please quit pissing on my grave, okay? That's it for this week's Pachter Factor. Thank you for joining us. Remember, if you have a question, you can submit them to me on Twitter at Michael Pachter, copy at Sifted Games, or you can submit them on the sifted.net website, where I hope you're a subscriber, because this content is taking blood, sweat, and tears out of Shane. If Shane can ever make a profit, we'll get more great content like this. You can ask questions on the site. If you are a Sifted member, it'll be obvious on the site where to submit a question. Thanks for joining us. Please tell your friends you watch this. Post something on Twitter. Tell your friends, because I keep getting questions about when is Pack Attack coming back. So let people know you saw it. Post it on NeoGAF. Criticize my predictions there. I love going to NeoGAF because I can take people on there. And to all you gaffers, love you, miss you. And to Jim Sterling, you're my man. Thanks.